Hello everybody, this is Miss Eubank. Tonight's video is going to review for Chapter 11 tests that we will be taking on, Friday. So these were the questions, the 7 questions that I gave you guys in class today. I'm going to work them out fully so you know how to do them. I recommend that you come in for help, uh, either let's see, depending on when you watch this video after school today. I'm doing this video uh, on Wednesday. Come in during 4th or 6th, um, you know, before school, just, look, come in for help if you need clarifying. So the first one, we have to state the restrictions. Now, some of you did not understand this question, so it's super easy and you made it harder than it should be. For this one, all we have to do is factor the denominator. When we factor the denominator, we get x, the quantity of x plus 5, quantity of x minus 4. Now, if you can't see what the restrictions are right now, we set x plus 5 equal to 0, and we set x minus 4 equal to 0. Solve for x. So x is going to be negative 5, and x equals 4. Now, these are restrictions, so we're going to state them as x cannot equal negative 5, and x cannot equal 4. Okay, state them as x cannot equal. That is our restriction. Otherwise, I could assume that y cannot equal negative 5. You have to state x does not equal. Okay, so this is the final answer for number 1. You have to have both if there's more than one restriction. You can't just have negative 5. You have to have negative 5 and 4. Okay, the next one says state the restrictions and graph. So for this one, if you can't see it, the restriction right now, we're going to set x minus 3 equal to 0. Solve for x equals positive 3. So our asymptote is going to be, what am I looking for? Here it is. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay. Now now we have our restrictions, so we're going to set up a t-table. X and Y. Okay. I'm going to pick 3 numbers below positive 3, so let's do 2, 1, and 0. And 3 numbers above positive 3, so 4, 5, 6. When I plug in 0, I get negative 0.67. 1, I get negative 1. For 2, I get negative 2. For 4, I get 2. For 5, I get 1. And 6, I get positive 0.67. So I'm going to plot these points. Over here, I'm going to go over 0, up negative, right about here. Positive 1, negative 1, positive 2, negative 2. Then on the other side, I'm going to get 4, 2, 5, 1, 6, and 0.67. Now you can graph more points, like you could test the point x equals negative 1, and you could test the point x equals 3.5 to see exactly what's going on. That is fine to make your line more accurate. Oops, my line's kind of going away from the asymptote. Put it going this way. Here and here. Now, most of you got number 1 and number 2 correct, which is good because that was the first thing we did. I was hoping you guys didn't forget. Now, the third one. A handful of you were confused with this one. So it says if y is 3 when x is -8, find x when y is -4. So the formulas we could use are y equals k over x or y times x equals k. They mean the same thing because all we did was manipulate this k over x. We multiplied by x to both sides and got xy equals k. So I'm going to plug in what we know. So if y is 3 when x is -8, -8. So I'm going to solve for k. I'm going to multiply by -8 on both sides. So I'm going to get a -24 equals k. Now I have my k, so I can make my equation. So my equation is going to be y equals -24 over x. That's all I need to do for my equation. Like I was telling some of you, my constant, so my k, is just like a slope in a linear equation. The slope stays the same, and you can plug in numbers for x to get numbers for y and get your coordinate points. Okay, so now I have my k and I have my equation. And I have to find x when y is -4. So I have my k. My k is going to stay the same. So it says, so y is -4. My k is -24. And my x. So I'm going to multiply by x to both sides. I'm going to get -4x equals -24. Divide by -4. Divide by -4. X equals 6. So I asked for three things. I asked for the constant, which is -24. I asked for the equation, which is y equals -24 over x. And I asked for what x was when y is -4. And x is +6. All right, next one. Simplify. Now, when we simplify, we're not going to get x equals anything because we do not have an equal sign in this problem. We're just simplifying. So when I look at this problem, the first thing you guys should be thinking about is what can I factor? And the first factoring that you always should think about is GCF. So in the numerator, I see that every term can be divided by 2. So I'm going to factor out a 2. I'll be left with x squared plus 8x plus 16 over x plus 4. Now this 2 is a big deal. This 2 cannot just go away. It has to stay on the outside because that means that this equation is the same as this equation, just in factored form. Okay, now I'm going to factor this. This looks like a pretty easy factoring problem. I'm going to keep the 2 here, and I'm going to have 2 parentheses. We're doing like a backwards foiling. I know I'm going to have an x here and an x here. And now I need 2 numbers that multiply to get 16 and that add to get 8. So I know this is a 4 and a 4, and it's both has to be plus. Okay, all over x plus 4. Now, you might be tempted to cancel all 3 of these, but you cannot. You can only cancel one at the top with the one in the denominator. If it was x plus 4 times x plus 4 in the denominator also, then you will be able to cancel both of them. But in this case, you can only cancel one. So our final answer is 2 times x plus 4. Some of you distributed the 2, which is fine. Um, or you could write 2x plus 8. And that's the final answer simplified. Okay, it doesn't equal anything. We're just simplifying. All right, the next thing is operations. And you guys got this fairly quickly when I went over it in class. Now that we have to do it all together, you're kind of getting confused. So we're going to treat this just like we did fractions way back in 5th grade, only we have variables now. The rules still apply. The rules are still the same. So when we're adding or subtracting, we have to get common denominators. So I cannot manipulate the denominators in any way to make one, the other. But I can multiply this x plus 1, can multiply this by x minus 9. And if I do it to the numerator, if I do it to the denominator, I have to do it to the numerator too. X minus 9. And on this side, I can multiply this by x plus 1. And I have to multiply the numerator by x plus 1. Okay, remember this is just a form of 1. X plus 1 over x plus 1 is a form of 1. So we're not changing the problem, we're just making it so we can subtract. So now we have x plus 1 times x minus 9. And for the numerator for the first one, I'm going to distribute right now. So I'm going to distribute this x to the 1 and to the other x. So I'm going to get an x squared plus x. The second one, now we have common denominators, so I have an x plus 1, x minus 9. I'm going to distribute this 2 right now to the x and to the 9. And we get 2x minus 18. Okay, now we're going to subtract. When we subtract, you cannot forget this minus sign has to go to the 2x and to the negative 18. You have to distribute that minus sign. So we're going to have x squared plus x minus 2x plus 18 all over the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 9. Now we're going to combine like terms. We have x squared minus x plus 18 all over x plus 1, x minus 9. Now you could FOIL this denominator, that's fine. I'm going to keep it like this because I'm running out of room. And this is our final answer. All we did was subtract 2 fractions. It just so happens these fractions have variables. Okay. You do the same thing with adding, only with adding you don't have to distribute the adding. That's only with subtraction. Okay, now we're going to do a division problem. The first thing I'm going to do is flip the second fraction and change the division to multiplication. So I've got x squared minus x over 3 multiplied by 6 over x minus 1. Now, since this is a multiplication sign, we can simplify. So this will become a 1 and this will become a 2. Okay, because this is multiplying. So now I'm going to take out a GCF of a 1x out of this numerator. So if I take out a 1x, I'm left with x minus 1 over 1 times 2 over x minus 1. Okay, now we can cancel this x minus 1 and this x minus 1. And we are left with 2x. And that's the final answer. All right, so it's not as bad as you guys were thinking or making it be. Okay, so 2x is our final answer here. And x squared minus x plus 18 over x plus 1 minus times x minus 8. All right, and now this last one. Okay, so this gave you guys some trouble. It was pretty difficult, but you should be able to do problems like this. When we're solving, this now has an equal sign. So we have to find our least common denominator. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is factor out this denominator. So we have 2x plus 7 over x plus 2 equals 5 over x plus 2 and x minus 2. And don't forget that other minus 2 over here. Okay? So I can see now I have a denominator of 1 under the 2. I have a denominator of x plus 2 times x minus 2. And I have a denominator of x plus 2. So my least common denominator is x plus 2, x minus 2. The whole goal of finding your least common denominator is so that we can cancel all of the denominators. Okay, so we're not dealing with fractions anymore. That is our goal. So we're going to multiply our least common denominator by all of the numerators. So I'm going to have 2x plus 7 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 over x plus 2. And then 5 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 over x plus 2, x minus 2, minus 2 times x plus 2, x minus 2. You still have to multiply the 2, even though you don't have to cancel the numerator. Whatever, you have to do it to every single term. Okay? All right, now we can start canceling. So we can cancel this x plus 2 with this x plus 2. We can cancel here and here. Okay, so now we got rid of all of our fractions, and we're left with 2x plus 7 times x minus 2 equals 5 minus 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, next step is to FOIL. We want to FOIL so that we can start combining like terms and solving for x. So over here, we're going to FOIL and we're going to get 2x squared minus 4x plus 7x minus 14. Over here, we have 5 minus 2 times x squared minus 4. Now, some of you are asking about how we're supposed to distribute this 2. We're going to distribute this 2 with the negative. So we're going to do negative 2 times x squared and negative 2 times negative 4. Okay, so that's going to give us a 5 minus 2x squared plus 8. Okay, over here, let's combine like terms. We have a negative 4x plus a positive 7x, which gives us a positive 3x minus 14. All right, let's try combining some like terms. Let's add this 2x squared to this 2x squared. Let's subtract an 8, subtract an 8, and let's subtract 5. Oh wait, we can combine that. All right, let's just do one step at a time. I was getting ahead of myself. Let's just do the 2x squared. What happened to my 14? 14. All right, let's just do that so I don't confuse anybody. All right, when I do that, these cancel, and I get a 4x squared plus 3x minus 14 equals, I've got two constants over here, so 5 plus 8 gives me a 13. Okay, now it doesn't look like anything's going to be canceling, so I want to get everything to one side of the equal sign and have it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 13, and I'm left with 4x squared plus 3x minus 27 equals 0. Now this is the part where some of you like go crazy. But you shouldn't. This should be simple stuff right now because we have a quadratic form or a quadratic equation equal to 0. So what can we do? We could factor or we could use the quadratic formula. This one, off the top of my head, I don't know how to factor it or even if it does factor. So we're going to use quadratic formula. So I have A equals 4, B equals 3, and C equals negative 27. All right, we're going to plug it in. Negative B plus or minus a square root. I'm going to simplify what's under the square root first. So this is 441 over 2 times A, which is 8. Okay, we're going to break this up to negative 3 plus the square root of 441 and negative 3 minus the square root of 441, oops, over 8, over 8. So we're going to end up with x equals negative 3 and 2 and a fourth, 2.25. That is it. It was a lot of work, but it shouldn't have been hard once you have the steps down. All right, so test is Friday. Come in for help if you need it. And I will see you guys later.